Information about the history and distribution of the damage you have observed can give important clues as to the cause of a tree's poor condition. Understanding when damage started and how it spread is very useful for not only diagnosing a problem, but also working out if it should be reported. This video will look into what questions we should be asking to build up our knowledge of damage and how this can be used to guide us to potential causes and rule out others. This video covers a range of different scenarios, but is by no means exhaustive. It will hopefully get you thinking about how to rule out different causes, help you to identify when a problem is most likely to be a pest or disease, and report through online tools such as Tree Alert. The first question to ask is, what is the history of the symptoms you are seeing? It is quite likely that the observations you make will be made on a path well trodden by you, while walking the dog or waiting for the bus. Some trees will have been in a poor condition for a long time, maybe since you first remember visiting that area. If you notice the tree is in poor condition, and you have seen a dramatic deterioration, or you notice signs and symptoms which are indicative of a pest or disease, covered in videos 4 to 7, then it might be worth checking it out. Knowing when you first noticed the changes, even just a rough month, or sometimes even year, can provide vital clues to diagnosticians as to the cause. It can help you determine how long the signs or symptoms have been present for. If it is proven to be a pest or disease of interest, this will help us to identify a timeline, which could be helpful for increasing our understanding in the threat that these organisms pose and managing future outbreaks. The next question to ask is, are the signs or symptoms you first noticed getting worse? And if so, is it doing so quickly? Keeping an eye on the tree, regardless of whether you have reported it or not, can help to increase understanding. Trees do have ways to defend themselves, just like us and our immune systems. Some symptoms can actually be a sign of the tree trying to protect itself. For example, when a tree is wounded, maybe by pruning or branch tears, it will try to seal off the wound to protect the tree from infection. This can sometimes produce nasty-looking bleeds or fluxes, which can make it look quite ill. However, this is all part of the tree's natural defence mechanism to seal off the damaged area. In other cases, bleeds can start relatively small, but can be the premonition of something sinister lurking beneath the bark. Acute oak decline, or AOD, can produce tar spot-like bleeds, which, although can start small, after time spread until they are across the entire trunk of the tree. AOD is characterised by dark fluid oozing from cracks in the bark, rapid decline of the tree, and tree mortality. Death of affected trees can occur within 4 or 5 years of symptoms first becoming visible. For more information, please see the Observatory Pests and Diseases information pages. Another question to ask is, do changes have any relation to external factors, such as the season or weather? It is worth taking note of the local weather, as it could cause stress resulting in the tree's poor condition, as discussed in the previous video, and includes frost, drainage issues, strong winds, etc. However, sometimes changes in weather can have an impact on an organism which are causing change. For example, the horse chestnut leaf miner has a shorter life cycle in hotter and drier weather. It can be known to achieve as many as 5 generations in 1 year in the perfect climate. So if we get a period of their favourable weather conditions, it is likely we will see a population explosion and be able to spot it everywhere. A chat over a fence can be very enlightening indeed. Often, particularly if you are new to an area or only visiting, you will not know the answer to the factors discussed. However, having a chat with someone who lives locally, walks there often, or the land manager or owner could provide very useful. Even if you do visit the area and know the answer to the previous questions, it still might prove useful to ask. Whether they had seen it before, or is it a new problem? Do they know what might be causing it? Particularly if you're asking the land manager or owner, it is likely you will gain insightful information into what the cause could be, or if it is something that likely needs to be reported. In order to start thinking about what is causing poor condition, we need to understand the signs and symptoms. One of the easiest questions to answer is which parts of the tree are damaged. When looking at the tree, we can split it up into its main parts. In this video series, we will concentrate on the three key areas: the crown, the stem or trunk, and the roots and root collar, which correspond to how you will report damage through the Forestry Commission's Tree Alert. However, for your own notes and to help the diagnosticians, you may wish to look at other specific parts. For example, the leaves, scaffolding branches, the branches that are not the stem or trunk of the tree but still provide key structural support, the twigs or smaller branches, and flowers, fruit and buds. Most of these are included within the crown. The first thing to understand is how is the damage distributed. It may be all over the entire tree, or it may only be partial, in segments or only in certain sectors. For example, if one half of the crown is affected and the other side is in good condition, it is worth thinking about how your tree is positioned. It could be that the damaged side is south facing and the damage is the result of sun bleaching, which only affects those leaves in full sustained sunlight. Or it could be that the damaged side of the tree is very exposed to wind or frosts. Alternatively, pests or diseases could work their way through the tree. For example, trees infested with the emerald ash borer show a general yellowing and thinning of foliage, dying branches, and crown dieback, typically from the top down. On the other hand, horse chestnut leaf miner outbreaks will begin in the lower branches and work up. Similarly, you can look at how the damage affects specific parts of a tree. You could look at whether the damage is focused at the base or at its tip. It could be that a pest is eating the leaf, but only eating the younger, easier to chew leaves. In this example, the damage is caused by mountain ash ring spot virus, where the symptoms can be seen across the whole of the leaf. You're looking for any patterns in damage which may be useful when passing information to diagnosticians. It is always a good idea to take photographs of any points of interest, such as patterns of infection, which can be used later in the diagnosis. Tree Alert and Tree Check will ask you to upload images when you report a problem. Sometimes damage will be restricted to different age classes of the tree, for example, new growth or old growth. Psittacoccus blight of cedars starts by infecting the shoots and new growth of its host in the spring, turning them a distinctive pink colour. Dieback, such as that caused by the fungal pathogen Cholera on ash, results in shoot death and dieback, working from the tip of the branch towards the tree. If damage is only in old growth, the problem could have been caused by something in the previous year, and possibly not affecting the tree anymore. In which case, keeping your eye on the tree over the next year could tell you if the problem has in fact gone, or if it still persists. This could even be environmental factors that are no longer present, thus allowing healthy new growth. However, there are some pests and diseases that do not appear to affect the current season's growth. For example, Dothostroma needle blight results in the premature casting of older needles, resulting in a tuft of needles at the tip of the branch, resulting in a characteristic lion's tail symptom. Alternatively, damage may be recorded on both new and old growth, which may indicate the problem has been present for some time. This module has hopefully demonstrated the importance of understanding the history and distribution of the symptoms you have observed. Understanding what has gone on before may help to give an indication as to the cause of the symptoms you are seeing. The symptoms that you observe at the time for your survey frequently are the result of a sequence of events, which may initially start with the diverse cultural or environmental conditions that stress the tree and make it more favourable to pest and disease attack. Listening to local people who may have watched the tree's decline into poor condition can provide a very helpful insight into the situation you are seeing during your survey. Gathering information in a systematic way that includes evidence of where the tree is growing well is just as important as recording the symptoms of damage.